Sarah Ferguson has announced that she's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of skin cancer in another shocking health update from the royal family. It's her second cancer diagnosis within a year, having had a mastectomy last summer after being diagnosed with breast cancer. But also, tonight, we've got the front page of The Sun with us, where Camilla has offered advice to the workaholic king, Charles, and the advice is, slow down. Please, joining me to discuss all of this is the royal editor, Mr. Robert Jobson. Robert, welcome back to the Independent Republic of Mike Graham. Interesting on the front page of The Sun. Let's start with Charles. Inside it says 516 jobs in 2023, age 75. Camilla fears Charles is working too hard, effectively.
Yeah, it's not just the jobs. I mean, he does... he's sort of always working on his papers till late at night. Yeah. He is a bit of work.
I've heard he's a workaholic.
Yeah, he'll have his dinner and then go back to work. I mean, you know, it was that great line, wasn't there, by Harry, dare we speak, he was saying that when he was a kid, he used to find his dad asleep with those post-its stuck on his head. Well, I think that is true. You know, he does take it very seriously. He goes into the finite detail of everything. But we must remember he's 76 next birthday, and you've got to listen to your body, you know. And I think that that's probably all that Camilla's saying is listen.
Yes.
You know, no one's indestructible.
No, of course, and he's got his own health problem to sort out later this week. He's going to go and have his enlarged prostate sorted out, which will be a relatively straightforward operation, won't it?
We hope so. We think so.
Yeah.
And the way they've dressed it is that's what they're saying. You know, by announcing it early, it takes away a lot of the stress. But if this had been a few years ago, the Queen going on a hospital, you know, it was always a big deal.
Absolutely.
So the head of state going in, staying overnight, is a big deal.
Yes.
You know? And I think that we shouldn't just, you know, assume that everything will be fine. We should just be hoping that it is.
And again, as we spoke about last week, you know, with Kate also in hospital and probably not really able to do much until as the Princess of Wales after Easter, sometime near beginning of April, you know, there's a big gap here in terms of who can do what and when it can be done.
Slow down as well. William's going to have to be looking out. He's got a young family. He's going to be looking after Kate when she comes out. I think they're going to rely a lot on the Queen. I was out with the Queen today. She was in Swindon at a refuge for abuse.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that the most important thing is that the Constitution continues, and that'll be done by, you know, by the whoever steps in for the King, which will be William.
I mean, obviously it'll be quite a year this year in terms of sort of state occasions, won't it? But I mean, he'll have to do, you would imagine, the state opening of Parliament, which he'll want to do.
Yeah.
What can he cut if he has to cut things?
I think it's probably the way that he does organise himself a little bit. Maybe less of the going into the finite detail of everything. I think that's what he's somebody that can't leave it alone. You know, he's always right. He writes, he agonises over his speeches. He wants to make a difference in the time he is king. We've said that when we discussed him going to COP28. So I just think that maybe they're just saying, look, just, you know, take your foot off the gas a little bit and don't expect to be doing, you know, 18-hour days, which he does.
And he'll need to recuperate a little bit, no matter how small the operation is that he's having. You know, any operation takes it out of you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's had an issue with this for a while, but the reality is that you know, he's somebody I think who will listen to Camilla. She's a sensible lady. He's done. I mean, we're talking about, people might say, 516 jobs in a year. That's not many. It's what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah. You know, what else he's doing, and he's doing all sorts of things.
It's more than I've done. I mean, you know, I'm substantially younger than he is. Also, a little bit in The Sun tonight about Carol and Michael Middleton comforting their 3 grandchildren at the weekend as they face another 10 days without their mother. That can't be easy for them either.
No, I mean, we forget the human beings half the time. But the reality is, I think Carol and Mike are good people. They live just down the M4. Yeah. So they're very much in the lives of these kids. So, you know, having grandma around and granddad around is always a good thing. Then they get away with.
I'm sure they do.
Sweets and God.
Although I imagine you can't really be spoiled by your grandparents if your other grandparents are the king and queen. Can you?
I reckon that they're probably the ones that do spoil.
Maybe.
You know, they get the chocolates, and, you know, Charles will come on with an organic bar or something, you know?
Some cheese. What about the situation with Sarah Ferguson? She says she's blessed, getting a lot of support, and a lot of people have been very nice to her over the course of, you know, the last 24 hours or so, media-wise. You know, everyone
so they should,
has a story to tell about what a great woman she is. You know, I years ago, like you, was in America and met her on a couple of trips there. And she was always good fun. She always got along with everybody pretty well. And I think most people think quite well of her, don't they?
They do. I mean, there were a few trolls typically
Yeah.
as we see them all, but you know, Sarah's a nice person. She's somebody I think that's been supportive of a family in a difficult time, and you know, she's always very always very welcoming, always very open and honest, and she's had a bit of a roller coaster life. But she always seems to sort of keep going. So
she does.
Let's just hope that everything will be all right this time.
Yeah. I mean, I remember being in Houston with her, and she'd flown out from London, and we were at NASA. I don't know if you were on that trip. I can't remember. And she was describing how the plane got struck by lightning as it was leaving Heathrow. And of course, you know, the aide was going, yeah, but it's very doesn't matter at all because, of course, you know, planes get struck by lightning all the time. And just as he said it, this guy from NASA walked behind him and was like, oh yeah, we had a plane struck by lightning. It got blown right out of the sky.
I bet you fired high on that one.
It was a splash the next day.
No, but she's good. I mean, I remember skiing, you know, years ago, you know, in wherever it was, Verbier,
Closters or somewhere.
Leck, I think it was. And she was sitting at the table to invite me over to have a chat. She's a good person, and I think that. Actually, she's been treated quite badly over the years, but she's back in the fold now. She was there up at Sandringham at Christmas with Andrew, and she's gets on well with Camilla, the Queen, and Charles. So look, I think let's just hope and pray that she's okay.
Yeah. Should we mention Harry and his dodgy German prince mate who got a selfie with him last week?
You have to.
I'd rather not, but I mean, I did say at the time. I put it out on Twitter. This is what he's down to now.
The
king of trash
TV. It's quite sad because if you actually look at what's going on with the monarchy at the moment, the royal family, they do need the more numbers.
They could do with some help, couldn't they?
William and the king could do some backup. Harry was always very popular when he was doing his royal engagements. He was always seen as a breath of fresh air, and he's sort of blown it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, completely. There's no way back for him now.
No.
But
and if he was still here, they could have had quite a senior role, couldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. No, they would have had a very senior role. And he was. I mean, I covered a load of the trips with him, and he was always very, you know, diligent, got on with it, and everyone liked him. It just seems a bit of a shame. I just don't, you know, picking up awards for being a legend of aviation does seem ridiculous. Like, you know, just ridiculous.
Yeah. And do you buy this idea that they've sent private sort of messages?
No, I think the word was they reached out. You can reach out, but doesn't mean the other person's going to catch the message.
No, that's what I thought. Interesting. Very good. Robert, thank you very much indeed. Robert Jobson, Royal Editor there with the latest news on the King.